beginner friendly. Don't worry, this is not a choreo class where you're going to feel rushed or like you're constantly behind. This combo can be done to any song and at any pace. I'm Mimi Midnight, and I help dancers find their authentic movement through sensuality. You don't need any pole dance experience or even dance experience to do this combination. All you need is your willingness to move and explore what your body can do. I'm going to teach this combo in 5 different sections. At the end, I'll show you how you can dance it to 2 different songs. The way I teach is very non-linear, meaning I'm not going to tell you exactly step by step what to do. Let me give you this analogy. If you teach someone how to solve a math problem through memorization, they'll be able to solve that math problem, but they'll struggle with variations or anything else. If you teach somebody the underlying principles of mathematics, they'll be able to solve many different problems and even create their own equations. So nonlinear learning is all about understanding the concepts and the fundamentals behind movement. If you're not used to this kind of education and you want to really push what you're capable of doing, then you'll definitely want to watch this tutorial. So the first part starts with an open and a close, an expansion and a contraction. Starting from this tabletop position, we will open and close. Open and close. Open and close. So you'll notice I did 3 different ways of opening and closing there from that starting position, but you can create whatever variation that you would like. The only thing I want you to pay attention to is not using just one body part to open and close, but rather your entire body. So instead of thinking open, close, let's think open, close. Now it's really tempting to want to know exactly how I did whatever variation you liked the best, but the more you try and copy my movement, the less you'll be able to find what it is that makes your movement so unique and special. And if you're wondering if you're doing it wrong, you're already doing it wrong. If it feels good, just keep doing it. So after we've got an open and close, and open and close, we're gonna do a butt slide. So I'm thinking about sliding my butt back. So the way I can do that is create lightness in my butt by putting more pressure into my hands. Or I can do a full-on slide and think about dragging the floor towards my butt. You can also think about pushing your butt closer to your hands. So let's just try that section a few times. The first one, an open, and then a close, and then a butt slide. Open, close, butt slide. Another way you can think about the butt slide is actually a forward and backward movement in your chest. So we start with our chest back, and we think about pulling our chest forward. Chest back, pulling the chest forward. So again, the different ways you can think about this, and it'll bring up different movement patterns in your body. So pay attention to what feels the best for you. Is you can think about pulling the butt towards the hands. You can think about dragging the hands towards the butt. You can think about creating lightness in your booty by pressing your hands into the ground, pulling your butt back. Or you can think about the shift in the chest from going backwards to forwards. All right, section 3. Now that we're in this seated position, we're gonna think about trying to get onto our elbows into this position. We could just drop right back. But maybe we can smooth it out a little bit by creating a circle. So this is a very linear pathway. Here's a circular pathway. So I'll show you from the front. This is a very linear pathway. And here's a circular pathway. I'm thinking about bringing my chest in a circle all the way back. Sometimes you might cut it off by bringing it to the side and then doing a quarter circle to the back. See if you can try all these different pathways. So we got the straight back, we have the dip to the side, and then a quarter circle to the back. And then we have our full semicircle. Notice how each of those variations feel in your body. So let's do that again. I'll show you from a different angle. We're in the seated position. I can go straight back. I can tip to the side and then go a quarter turn back. I can create a semicircle and come back. One thing you'll notice is that you want to reach behind yourself as much as possible so that your hands are already in the right place. If you reach to the side, which is what happens with the lean and then the quarter circle, you'll find that you need to do an adjustment. All right, so now that we've got our direction and our pathway that we want to use to go to this position, we're going to think about doing a weight shift from hip to hip. So I'm going from one hip to the opposite hip. You'll notice you can use your arms to kind of help you. But the one thing you want to pay attention to is this is not about your knees. I'm not thinking about my knees. I'm thinking about shifting my weight. So the whole body goes in one side, whole body goes in the other. Now when we shift our weight, see if we can bring that top leg a little bit crossed in front of the bottom. So these are the feet together, shifting side to side. Now let's see if we can bring this foot a little bit in front, bring it back, bring it a little bit in front. We can start to let our feet go a little bit more. And then let's see if we can take some momentum into our hands so that our chest can come a little bit more upright. So I'm reaching all my energy towards the side to get myself to be able to come up. And then I let my energy soften back to the floor through that circle. And then reach all my energy to that side. So my foot is reaching and my hand can be reaching. It's not necessarily a body part, but it is really about that energy going from side to side. So now you can play around with this with your hands staying on the ground. So thinking about just pushing enough so that your arm can straighten. Just pushing enough so your arm can straighten so that you're just on your hands and not on your elbows anymore. You can even practice doing it all on your hands in like this tricep push-up in the back. So let's do a quick review of what's going on here. We have our weight shift side to side, and we gradually came to the point where we could separate our feet. And then we got to the point where we could create some energy, bringing us up, up. And then we practiced doing this with only our hands and not our elbows on the ground. In like a reverse tricep push. And now I would like you to see what you could do with your legs as you're shifting your weight from side to side. So your legs are completely free here. When they shift their weight side to side, what could they do? You might want to try and slow it down. Or you could keep it simple and not even worry about your legs for now. Okay, section 4. Let's start in this reverse tabletop again, and just try to press your hips up into the air by pushing your feet and palms into the ground. So a little bit of a hip thrust here, and then lowering. Creating space beneath us, and closing that space. Creating space beneath us, and closing that space. Now let's go into a kneeling position. I want to try and shift my feet out from under me. Now I want to shift my feet to the other side. What do you notice happening with your hips here? You might notice again, we have that weight shift side to side. One hip, shifting the weight to the other hip. Shifting the weight to the other hip. Now let's see if we could do that same thing with keeping our hands behind our back. So I'm going to shift my weight to one hip, shift my weight to the other hip. And you'll notice my feet do this sweepy thing underneath my hips. It's almost like your hips are rainbowing from one side to the other. The more I'm able to open up and create space beneath me, the easier it will be to shift my feet underneath me. So here, if I do not lift everything up into the air, if I think about just trying to do the bare minimum, it's going to be hard to get my feet underneath me. If I think about really lifting chest, hips, everything, pushing my hands into the ground, then I can create a lot of space underneath me to go side to side. Sometimes it's helpful to look up so that your energy can be directed up. All right, now that we understand this leg sweep thing, we're gonna see how we can do one leg at a time. In our little position that we ended up in after the weight shift side to side, we have one leg or one foot in front, and we're on our hands in the back. We're on one hip. So I'm going to take this foot that's in front and I'm going to press it into the floor. I'm going to do the same thing about lifting everything up in the air so that I can slide that foot underneath me and come to my opposite hip. Now it might feel a little bit crazy at first because all your weight is dropping to one side. If you feel like that is you, try to shift this foot a little bit more to that side. So for example, if I start here, I lift up and I slide, and it feels way too much pressure to just drop down on the side, then I can shift my foot over a little bit more, and it'll feel much easier to come down to the side. And let's try the other side. So we'll bring this leg in front, and then I can lift my hips up, slide that foot underneath, have the hips come back down, and back and forth. I'll show you from a different angle. One hip, lift, slide the foot underneath, come to the side, bring that foot in front, lift, slide the foot underneath, come down to the side. See if you can travel a little now doing this move. Another little tip that might help you is as you are going to the other side, you can lower your hips first before dropping to the side, which might make it easier to control your weight shift. Before we get into the next section, if you like this kind of learning, then you're going to love my program, Movement Mastery. It's a self-paced program that covers 4 main movement concepts to make your pole dance look seamless. With the tools in the program, you'll learn how to unlock your creativity and make your movement look effortless. You can find more information down in the description below. Okay, we are on to the last section where we're gonna put it all together. I'll show you the simplest version first, and then we'll add our own little flourishes to it. So starting in that tabletop position, I'm going to expand or open up and then contract. I find my butt slide, and then I find my circle, or whatever way you want to go into your weight shift. I'm going to come to one side. I'm going to come to the other side, push up, find my leg sweep, so press that foot into the ground, open up the hips, come over to one side, and drop. And that's it. Okay, now you can experiment with different ways that you can do this. So we could have our open up to the side for those of you whose hamstrings are not happy today, and then a close, our butt shift, and then we can roll over to one side, open up into the other side, roll back over, and push up. And then you can even keep it going, or you can start back from the beginning. And we can open and close, find that butt slide, and then we can find a rotation to the other side maybe. Weight shift, and leg sweep. Expand, contract, butt slide, coming over to the back. We're on one hip. We can come to the other hip, coming back to the other hip, finding the leg sweep, and then ending. Okay, now I'm gonna show you how you can dance this combo to 2 different songs. our tutorial today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like this tutorial, then please like, comment, and subscribe so that I can keep making free content for you.